Hello everybody, I hope you guys are all enjoying your Friday afternoon. Today we're going to be looking at Winter Storm Henry, which is going to be impacting parts from the Midwest, the Southeast, and then combining together into parts of the Ohio Valley and Northeast, bringing some snowfall and rainfall to parts of the Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, and Southeast. And some of this rainfall is flooding, is definitely going to be flooding some roadways. Now, I do want to quickly, before we do get into the video and talking about Winter Storm Henry, I do want to thank you guys for making my January forecast that I posted just over a week ago, my most viewed video on my channel. The previous most viewed video was my winter forecast number 2, and that's been out on my channel for 4 months. So I'm really grateful that you guys could break that in just a week and a half about. So I'm really grateful for you guys, and it really means a lot to me. Also, if you didn't check that out already, that forecast, it is on my channel. You can go check that out, and I will be answering all comments. So if you have a comment about, let's say, the forecast for your specific area, I will definitely get back to you within about 24 hours of your comment being posted, and usually it's much shorter than that. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to talk about Winter Storm Henry. We start off with the National Weather Service. Over parts of the Rockies, you're seeing over parts of the western United States, you're seeing some winter weather advisories for Oregon and Washington, as well as some high wind watches, high wind warnings in effect for parts of the Dakotas through Montana and Wyoming, as well as Nebraska and Southern California, as well as Southern Oregon and Northern California. So all those areas being impacted by those strong winds. As well, you do have a blizzard warning for one county there, and that same county has been under a blizzard warning for about 1 or 2 days, maybe even 3 days in some areas of that county. So you have been experiencing blizzard conditions with the blowing snow, reducing visibilities to less than a quarter of a mile. So if you do live in that area, be sure that you are paying more attention when you're driving, because those blizzard conditions definitely will reduce your visibility a lot, and it'll make it hard to see outside. Now, we do have winter weather advisories in effect for parts of the Midwest. We have Iowa, Minnesota, and even parts of South Dakota with that winter weather advisories, and you are going to be seeing about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. That's why you do have that winter weather advisory in effect. Flood watches and flood warnings in effect over the Southeast, where you have been experiencing about 3 to 5 inches of rainfall over northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, and even into northern Georgia and southern Tennessee as well. You've all been seeing flooding conditions, and that even stretches into parts like Louisiana and coastal Texas as well. So we have been seeing a lot of flooding in those areas. So if you do live in that area, be sure that you are turning around, don't drown, because it is not worth risking your life just to pass one roadway. You don't know how deep it is, and that water could definitely carry your car. So we are going to start off here looking at the Weather Prediction Center's forecast here, and this is their surface analysis. I did show this yesterday, and I think I'm going to use this quite a lot in my videos. I think it's actually quite helpful of figuring out where the low pressure is and where you're seeing cold fronts. So this was made just a little while ago, about 3 hours ago, and they do update this quite often, so this is pretty up to date, and now the system has moved a little bit further east, because of course they did make this about 3 hours ago, and their newest one should be coming in soon. You see, we have a cold front associated with this system. This is a system bringing in that snowfall to parts of Minnesota, into South Dakota and Iowa. You also have multiple low pressure systems set up, but the biggest one, the main one, are these two right here, and those are going to be associated with this cold front that's stretching all the way from Mexico to Canada. So large cold front. You're seeing temperatures in the 50s really to the east of this cold front, and temperatures in the 30s behind it. So about a 10-degree temperature difference, about 35 to 40 on the west side, about 50 to 60 on the east side. So quite a big temperature difference on either side of the cold front. Warm front associated with this low pressure system over to the south, which is the same low pressure system that's bringing these flooding conditions to these areas, as well as a cold front associated with this. It is quite a strong cold front. Temperatures over parts of the panhandle of Florida, for example, are in the 80s here, but once you get right to the west of this low pressure, temperatures are in the 60s. So pretty big temperature difference there. And this system, you see, this low pressure system is going to combine with this southeastern storm, and that's when we have that's that southern jet stream kind of connecting with that northern jet stream. That's when we get your big snowstorms. But in this case, it's going to be a fairly weak connection, so not too much in the way of snowfall here. So we are going to be looking at the European model, and this is a high-res European model. We are zoomed in to the northeast. It also gives you a pretty good view of the Ohio Valley. Currently, you are experiencing rainfall over parts of the Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, and Northeast, and that will kind of break off as we get into tonight. But as you start to get back into the rainfall, this would be right around tomorrow morning, so Saturday morning, and heavier bands look to occur over southern Maryland and into southern Virginia. Snow starting to occur on the backside as we get into Saturday early morning, and it's only gonna kind of expand that area with that snowfall and icing, and that's gonna be over parts of upstate New York through Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. But really, you see the big cities. Boston, New York City, Albany, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. You're not getting impacted by anything. Some of these areas aren't even getting impacted by rainfall at this point. So really, it's a northern New England storm now, and it's not going to be impacting parts of the coastal Northeast anymore. So if you do live in those areas, the threat is gone. It wasn't really a threat in the first place. There wasn't really that big of a concern, but some channels definitely overhyping this system with the snowfall, and it never even looked like that's big of a storm. It was really a weaker system, so some forecasters kind of making this bigger storm than it actually is. It's going to be a very weak system that moves through and produces a good 3 to 6 inches over northern New England, and that's about the extent of this system. And as we continue this, you see some lake effect snow on the backside, and then another clipper system which could deliver a bit more snow. And this time for the coastal Northeast, this is when you would get your snowfall out of this. So here's your total snowfall out of the European model, and this is before the clipper system comes in. You see 3 to 6 inches over the northern. Oops, that was the wrong tool here. 3 to 6 inches over parts of the northern New England area and into northern upstate New York. Banding of 1 to 3 inches over parts of near Buffalo, but that's pretty much it. As well as parts of the Appalachians getting 3 to 6 inches of snowfall in those higher elevations. Now, here is the ice forecast, and you see very minimal, only a couple little valleys here over parts of southern New Hampshire and Vermont, as well as southern upstate New York, seeing some icing, and even that's going to be around 100th to a 10th of an inch. Areas closer to western New York could get closer to a 10th of an inch, but still that shouldn't cause too many travel concerns if you do live in those areas. Here's the National Weather Service's forecast as far as snowfall, and you're seeing we're just looking at about 3 to 6 inches, and highest elevations closer to 8 to 10 inches of snowfall. You also see this system, this little clipper system, out of parts of southern Minnesota into eastern South Dakota, Iowa, and Illinois, picking up about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. And then also the Appalachians, you see, seeing a little bit of snowfall, but nothing too much, right around 1 to 2 inches. Higher elevations, highest elevations, seeing closer to 4 or 5 inches of snowfall. Now, here is your severe weather forecast and your snowfall forecast that I hand drawn. And first, we are going to be looking at your general thunderstorm risk, and this is going to be anywhere from Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, north and east through Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and into Virginia and southernmost Delaware. Now, here we have a marginal risk, and this is all my forecast. Again, not affiliated with the National Weather Service, and we have a marginal risk here for southern Louisiana, southern Alabama and Mississippi, northern Florida, and most of Georgia, South Carolina, and then a little bit of North Carolina. And this is where you could see some flooding, as well as a slight chance for hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes, but not too large of a threat. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if you did see a brief spin up over parts of southern Georgia, northern Florida, southern Alabama, and southern South Carolina. Now, we do have a slight risk here, and this is to the northern part of this, really right here. This is going to be more for your flooding concerns, and then to the southern part of this is going to be more for your supercells and also your tornadoes, damaging winds. That's what the slight risk means. It kind of means two different things as you move to different locations. So really, south of this line, it's going to be for damaging wind, tornadoes, and then as you get north of this line, you're going to be seeing it more for flooding. So just take that into account as well. You will still be seeing flooding in this area, but it shouldn't be as significant as areas to your north. Now, here is my snowfall and rainfall forecast for this system. I did make another one of these because I did update it just a little bit. I want to kind of perfect my forecast here. The low pressure, if you do remember yesterday, was located over northern Texas and southern Oklahoma. Now it has formed over northeast Arkansas into southeastern parts of Missouri, and I believe or I forecast that it's going to be moving in pretty much east direction and kind of moving northeastward as it hits right around Kentucky and Virginia, that area. Now, as we add all your rainfall and snowfall totals, you see we're going to start off with the rainfall. Less than an inch of rainfall expected in this lightest green shade, and that's from Louisiana through the Tennessee, Kentucky Valley into the Ohio Valley, as well as parts of the southeastern and mid-Atlantic coast. We also have a 1 to 2 inch area, and that's for southern Virginia, so around the Virginia Beach area into northern and central parts of North Carolina. Now we are going into your snowfall. We have under an inch of snowfall, so really any snowfall accumulation or really just snowflakes coming out of the air, because some of these areas the snow will stick for just a brief moment and then kind of unfreeze. And kind of melt away. So if you do live in this light blue area, expect some snowflakes, at least some accumulation. But really, the bulk of your accumulation is going to be when you get into this 1 to 3 inch area or greater. This is where you're expecting 1 to 3 inches of snowfall over Iowa, Illinois, and even getting to Nebraska and a little bit of South Dakota. Now this is really from that northern part of the jet stream that's kind of dipping south. Over the parts of the northeast, you are also seeing 1 to 3 inches, and that's over northern upstate New York into central Massachusetts, all of Vermont, and most of New Hampshire, as well as southern parts of Maine. Also, the northern part of Maine is under a coating to an inch of rain, of snowfall, I mean. Now, here is your 3 to 6 inch area, and this is over northernmost upstate New York, northernmost Vermont. So, Burlington, Vermont, I know that's a big city in Vermont. You're seeing about 3 to 6 inches of snowfall, closer to about 3 or 4 inches. And then as you get to northern New Hampshire and southern Maine, you're seeing right around 3 to 6 inches, except for coastal Maine. Coastal Maine will probably stay as 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. This is more of an interior event. Now, if you did enjoy this video, please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications so you never miss a video when I upload. Anyways, guys, that was Eli the Weather Guy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.